All right, hope everybody's doing well. It is about 3:15, and hopefully you're inside by the fire, maybe watching a little football. Just a note on that, I'm watching the game as well right up here, despite the lush confines that you see behind me. I actually do have a TV on the wall up here, so it is not quite as institutional as it may appear when you look at these Facebook Lives. The drive-in, I'll just say the roads are worse than I thought. Last night when I left, we had some snow. All the roads were snowpacked. Even the ones that were treated were snowpacked last night, but I had no trouble getting home. Getting here today was a whole different animal, and it's just kind of like it's that consistency of the sleet and the snow kind of together. But it kind of reminded me of those of you that spend time down the Outer Banks. It felt kind of like trying to drive on the sand when you don't deflate your tires enough. It was just had to really keep your speed up. And I drive in snow. I've driven in snow a lot, and I think I'm a pretty good driver in snow. And I rarely put it in four-wheel drive unless I absolutely have to. It's kind of one of those things. It's kind of like starting a fire without using newspaper. But I had to put it in four-wheel drive just to get out of my neighborhood because it just didn't really want to grab very well. So I just say don't get out if you don't have to. I don't think anybody's really wanting to get out for any reason. But the roads are just really bad, and not to put the plow trucks on blast or anything, but there were just some roads that weren't plowed at all. And I know there's so much to keep up with. They're just burning the candle at both ends. So again, I know they're doing their best, but you get a road that hasn't been plowed, it's really, really difficult. And I have a big heavy SUV, and it just wasn't. It was fine, but you just had to maintain your speed going up hills. Or you start feeling it move around a whole lot. So it was a little bit tougher than I thought for sure getting in here. We have had some rounds of heavy sleet just in the past 15 to 20 minutes here in the Richmond area. So I'm going to go through the radar, and then I'm going to show you kind of what's going on with that and what to expect for the rest of this afternoon and evening. So here's the latest on radar. And again, if you're out in Reedville, Kilmarnock, maybe Urbana, Saluda, West Point area, I'd love to hear what you have out there. This radar is depicting this as freezing rain. So this would be plain rain, and this would be freezing rain. So this is liquid. All this is falling as liquid, but over here it's sub-freezing. So it's accumulating on trees and power lines. I'd like to know if that's real. The radar's not perfect. It tries its very best, but I have a feeling there's probably still some sleet in there. It's not. I'd have to just get a report from you guys that are out there. Looking at what's going on north of Richmond, this is all sleet. There are some areas up in Orange County, Louisa County, that looks like there might be some snow in there. Again, I don't know. You'd have to be on the ground level. And for those of you that may be tuned in from up there, you can tell me if that is what's going on. All right, right here in Richmond, we've had a couple of waves of heavy sleet. Again, last 15 to 20 minutes. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take off the precip type. So I just took the coloring off so you could see some of this a little bit better. And I'm going to just kind of walk this back and show you kind of what we had come through here. So back this up just a little bit. See that area there in yellow? So we've got these areas up north of Short Pump and then out here northwest of Midlothian. So that's taking us back, the last half hour or so. And those are serious bands of sleet. I got a lot of people texting me, including my wife. It's like, whoa, it's pouring down rain now. And it wasn't raining. She's like, no, never mind. It's just really heavy sleet. Not lasting long, but really laying down a bunch of ice. And it hit here at the station as well. We've got another round coming in right now. This is the very latest. So you've got some hot spots here. One of those is down here. It's going to be the Powhite in 288, and also out Midlothian Turnpike in 288, down Hull Street and 288 as well. So some pockets of heavier sleet, but this is all going to be breaking up here very shortly. I'll show you what is headed our way. We're going to get a break. Let me load this again. All right, so down to our south. You can see the gap. Nothing in Dinwiddie County except for maybe just a little light sleet. It's just not showing up on radar. Brunswick County, Lunenburg County, Mecklenburg County. Down in North Carolina, we got a break as well. Now, the last wave of precipitation is coming, and it is the worst one. This is the one that we expected. We kind of expected this lull, and then tonight, I say beginning at about 5 p.m. and going to about 10 p.m., And to tighten that up a little bit, 6 p.m. to 9 p.m. here in Richmond, this is going to come through, this wave of what appears to be rain, but once it gets here, it will be freezing rain. And you can see how the coloring is switching over in Georgia, northeast Georgia. That's where the cold air at the low levels is locked in. Same thing's happening out in far western Virginia. So as this rain moves in, it's going to move over that sub-freezing air. It's not going to last long. Again, it's going to be a band that's maybe about 3 hours, but it will do some damage when it comes in. Temperatures, they're not going to go anywhere. We're in the low 20s, upper teens and low 20s. And so the ice is going to form. And so this is going to be the issue later on tonight. As this comes in, I know a lot of folks are feeling great that we have power, and so am I. But again, up to this point wasn't the problem. The problem is still on the way with the freezing rain. So again, here's what I'm expecting. A pretty healthy band of that ice coming through, 1/4 of an inch to 1/2 of an inch. Areas from Danville to South Hill to Emporia, up through Petersburg, Chester, Richmond, and Ashland. Around that, 1/4 of an inch. 1/4 of an inch is ice storm criteria. So that's significant, and it's a big area as well. I'll be keeping tabs on power outages and just kind of letting you know. I charge your phones, charge your devices now, so that if that does happen to you, at least you'll have a good full charge to track what's going on, and I'll bring you the latest as that wave comes through. It does look like everything will finally end tonight in the Richmond area by 10 p.m., and then a little bit later over to the east in the northern neck and middle peninsula. And we will get a good amount of melting tomorrow, as temperatures will be a little bit above freezing, and we'll have some sunshine. So a thin cover, when I say a really thin cover, I'm talking about less than 1/2 an inch. If you can just scrape everything down pretty low, let the sun work for you. The pavement underneath, that very thin layer, it will absorb the sun's light and it will warm the pavement and it will melt that stuff away. Even when it's in the 20s, mid to upper 20s, that'll happen. So do yourself a favor if you can do it safely, kind of get that layer down pretty thin and let the sun work for you tomorrow. All right, I'll be around. Of course, I've been here all afternoon. I'll be here all night, and I will be sending you more updates. Feel free if you've got any questions. Otherwise, just enjoy the afternoon. Pray that you keep your power on. All right, thanks for joining, and I'll talk to you a bit later.